client type, area type, particularly like if I need to really access QL, if I really need to access rotator cuffs, I really need to access laterals, leg laterals, IT band, TFL, vastus lateralis, because it really exposes those areas. Of course, prenatal, we're gonna use a sideline position because we can't use. Yeah, but sometimes I just work with my regular clientele in sideline position. You can still hit the whole body in sideline position. Um, it's just the biggest thing is you want to make sure that the client is comfortable. All right. So most times you're going to be transitioning from the supine, but you can also transition from the prone position as well. I'm going to be using 3 bolsters. I'm going to have 1 bolster underneath her head, support her head. 1 bolster underneath the leg that's crossed over, and then another bolster for her to like coddle and to feel comfortable. And you want to keep checking in with the client because this is discretionary on their comfortability, right? Some people may be different. Their hand may be tight, caught. Their foot may not be feel comfortable. Their back leg might not feel comfortable. So you want to continue to check in. All right. So I got my 3 bolsters. I got 1, 2, 3 here. I'm going to use the big bolster for the head. I'm going to use the other second big bolster for the Mikado, and then I'm going to use the same bolster that we use in normal positioning underneath the legs. All right. So yes, a little bit more thicker, right? It's little bit more cushion. You got a little more space. You're gonna see on the head how it's gonna elevate the head to free up their arms so that they can lay on that side. All right. So, I'm gonna ask you to turn away from me on this side, and then you're gonna lay on your left side, and you're gonna straighten your back leg. Okay? I'll hold the drape while you turn. Yep. All right. And then the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give one for her head. So you're gonna position right there. Second one, we're gonna put in between her legs. So we're gonna be lifting right here, inserting right in between her legs. Want that knee to kind of be. Wait, let me turn it right a little bit. Want that knee to kind of the knee to be on the bolster and that leg to kind of be on the bolster like that. Back leg straight. Back leg straight. Yep. So you got this nice little L right here. You got the knee on the bolster. You got the partial leg on the bolster, and then depending on how the client feels, and they can position this how they like. All right. And then the second one, I'm going to give her underneath here, right, for her to coddle, for her to roll over. Yeah. Well, we had bolster covers, obviously. You can put them under the sheet if they could fit. That I found that to be really, really difficult. For example, let's do it. So I'm gonna take this. You probably wipe them off. I think we don't wipe ours all. Everything goes under the sheet. Everything is covered. So I guess it just depends on where you work and how you work. Yeah. Typically you have a bolster sheet, but with practicing, it's covered. You're just gonna sanitize and wipe after. But if we were to do the bolster underneath, let me see. It's just a little bit. It's a little bit more difficult to move. It's a little more difficult to move, and you got to also remember that you got to transition to the other side after that, right? So I could do something like that and do something like this, but as you see, it's kind of hard for the client to move that pillow if they need to, right? And it's just a little bit more work. All right, so you want to kind of roll over and kind of like hug it. Yep, there you go. And then is your head comfortable? Arms comfortable? Yep. And then back leg straight. So this is kind of how in this setup we want to kind of position them. All right. And then in terms of draping, right? When we drape for the back, right? We still typical right here. We want to cover from shoulder all the way a little bit down the back end, but we can tuck right here underneath briefs if they have briefs, right? So then you have the whole back accessible to work. All right. Rotators accessible to work. All right. Good. Yeah, I will keep that arm covered. Yep. hmm We can take that arm out too. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We can untuck. You can untuck it. Depending on how you working, what's your plan, how how you're addressing it, so on and so forth. But this is kind of roughly how we want to dress the back.
I will say as a client, I prefer this pillow like out of the fitted sheet,
Out of the
so I can like hug it.
yeah.
And move it.
I got you. Yep. Yep. But this is how we'll do upper, and then for lower. This way it gets a little bit different because we don't really practice on a regular. But basically, you want to take your time, right? So of course we want to protect the client, right? You want to protect here and protect here, right? And we don't actually have to go all the way up to that glute. We could work here underneath the glute. We could work here underneath the glute, depending on, again, your level of comfortability with this client, level of comfortability in regards to your draping. We doing prenatal, you might want deeper glute work, and you might have to assess the glutes. Then that way, you're just gonna have to pull it up. Yeah, yeah, because it's not that I want to say it's hard for us. Is new because we don't practice this on a regular, and this is kind of why we kind of doing it now. More we practice, the more you practice. I know some people that they do a lot of prenatal, they do a lot of sideline, and they could just brrr, just like we do prone and supine. But because we don't naturally do it a lot in the program, um, we're just not as comfortable with it. But this is how you'll drape that front leg. Again, you still have access to everything here. And then that back leg, because that back leg is still accessible to work, right? So a drape as such will work. Do you feel covered, protected? Yep. And then we got that whole inner thigh to work. All right. So we still hitting full body. When you're doing upper body work, right? You still gonna be able to hit the full back, but you're gonna hit most of this side of the black back than the other side. We still can hit legs on both sides, right? And then when we flip, of course, you're gonna hit the other side of this leg because this leg will be up here, right? And then we still should be able to do feet and reflexology work. We still should be able to work everything that we work in a normal massage.
Could you show an example of like what you would do for the back with her sideline like that?
Like some flow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give me a bottle, please?